I'm Coach Kip Kyle, head football coach, Central Atlanta High School, 4-time state champion. I don't give a rat's ass about how people feel about how I run my program. I have instituted a bounty system. I will continue to do so, and as such, I will continue to bring home championship rings.
Coach, I like to do the intro when I come back in after break on my show. I appreciate your enthusiasm, but next time, kind of let me do that, okay?
Well, I was just trying to spice things up a little bit.
Oh, I don't understand what you mean.
Well, this is not one of the most thought-provoking programs I've heard in my life, and I thought, with the old coach giving you an intro, it might give it put a little life and breathe a little life into this thing.
Well, I appreciate that, Coach.
Let me say something else, young man. I knew and respected your father, and because of that, I have been taking it relatively easy on you. But one thing, you got a little out of line there before the break, and I'm very willing to talk about this issue of bounties in football. I'm very willing to talk about that with you and share my ideas with your audience. But what I will not tolerate in any way, shape, or form is being unnecessarily critical of my football program. Remember, I have brought home 4 state championship titles.
I understand that, Coach. So we are back, and we started out talking about this bounty system that's been going on in the NFL with amounts of money up to $50,000, and that's just that's just what we know about. We know about the 50 grand. So I'm guessing, and what is usual in these situations is that there are dollars far and above what has been made public. Be that as it may, Coach Kip Kyle here, head football coach at Central Atlanta High School, has basically acknowledged that since sometime in the mid-'80s, he has implemented a bounty system for his team, and in his opinion, it works, and it has in part resulted in winning 4 state championships. And he feels that the lessons that he's teaching are valuable lessons for these young men, and he's not backing down off of it. My only comment is, to say, or to ask the question: is it a good idea to put this money out on the table for these boys to be going after opposing players?
Well, like I said, and let me run down this again. $250 for taking out a running back, $350 for taking out a receiver, and $500 for taking out the quarterback. Now, it is no accident that Central Atlanta High School Falcons lead the state in quarterback sacks, because my boys get out there and they get after it, and they'll put a quarterback on his ass without even blinking an eye.
And for that, they get $500.
No, they get $500 if they knock him out of a game.
Well, see, that's the thing. I mean, you understand how bad a kid has to be hurt to be knocked out of a game. I mean, he's got to be not just hurt, he's got to be injured. A pulled muscle, maybe a fracture or a broken bone, or he's got to be really hurt to put him out of the game.
Well, that's right, but I mean that's the objective of football, to knock as many of those son bitches out of the game as possible. And again, You got to understand, at the end of the day, the ends justify the means. I have 4 state titles. I have a building on that campus named after me. I have my name on the door of an office that says head football coach Kip Kyle. Do you understand what that means?
Yes, sir.
Are you sure?
Yes, sir.
Well, I'm going to tell you anyway. It means that the people of the community, the teachers, the parents, students, alumni, and boosters have complete trust and faith in how I operate this program.
All right. So what you're saying is that makes it okay for you to initiate a bounty system where you're laying out money for your players to take other players out of the game.
What I'm saying to you, sir, and I would advise you to regulate the tone of voice that you use with me. What I'm saying is that when you bring state titles home, you earn the right to run the program your way. When those boys are on that field, those are my boys. I call the plays. I'm the offensive coordinator. I'm the defensive coordinator. I call the plays. I make the rules. You know, in the military, and that's another thing, son. You never wore the uniform of this nation. So there's a lot of things about personal fortitude or inner fortitude that you just don't know.
Well, I hardly think that.
Well, I told you before in the last segment, I'm really not all that concerned about just what it is you think. You do a whole lot of thinking. Why don't you wait till somebody asks you what you think?
Coach, now look, this will be great if we can operate on a basis of mutual respect.
Son, I'm going to tell you something. I was coaching football before you could read or write. All right? I was out there in the dirt, the heat, the rain, and the mud, turning these young boys into men. Before you could read or write, you're sitting there watching Sesame Street on your little black and white Zenith TV. And I was out there, and your father was that kind of man too. And I just want to say, and I had a great deal of respect for your father. That's why I'm on your show tonight. He was a hell of a coach, and he was a hell of a man.
I appreciate that.
Now, like I said, this is my program, and I'm going to run it my way. We have a very affluent alumni association, very affluent boosters, and they lay out this money. They created a special account, and they fund it, and I make sure that the appropriate players get the funds when they perform accordingly on the field. And I make no apologies for how hard my boys play. And that's about all there is to that.
All right, Coach. Well, look, I understand, and I have no intention. I know you are a man of integrity. All right, and I've known you for a long time. It was just unusual. It was very strange for me to hear that this bounty situation goes all the way from the NFL down to the high school level. And so I thought it would be interesting, to kind of talk this out, on the show. And it's just a very interesting thing. And like I said in the first segment, high school football is very big here.
It's absolutely big here.
And so I thought it would be interesting. Now here is a question, and you can kind of answer it any way you want.
What does that mean?
You can answer the question any way you want to. Are there any rules governing high school athletics that prohibit this kind of thing?
I can't believe you asked me that question.
Why not?
Because it means I have not made myself clear to you. This is my program. I am the head coach of Central Atlanta High School. I have a building named after me. If you drive by you will notice a large brick building, and outside is a sign that says the Kip Kyle Athletic Building. Do you know what that means, young man?
Well, yeah, I think I do.
Well, I asked you a question. Do you know what that means?
So you're saying that means that whatever rules there are in place don't matter because you're Kip Kyle and you make the rules at Central Atlanta High in terms of football.
Thank you. Bingo. Give the man a cigar.
All right. Well, let's not be sarcastic, Coach.
Well, if you want to ask me some intelligent questions, I'll be glad to engage with you. But if you're going to sit up here and try to second guess a man who's brought home 4 titles, I've got 4 championship rings. Have you seen the trophy case up at the high school? Have you seen our trophy case? We are constantly having to add on new shelving units to our trophy case to accommodate the hardware that my boys bring home. And not only that, of course, I'm a head football coach, but we win titles. We win regional titles in track and baseball and volleyball and swimming. So, it's all about bringing home the hardware.
Well, there is one school of thought that in sports it's all about championships, and however you earn those championships is okay, because that's what the fans want, that's what the boosters want, that's what the alumni want, and
now you're starting to get it, young man. Now you're starting to get it, and once again, $250 for a running back, $350 for one of these panty-wearing, high-heel, shoe-wearing receivers, and $500 for one of these snot-nosed, nappy-headed quarterbacks.
I don't know if we needed to go there.
Well, you know what I'm saying. I mean, these guys, a lot of these quarterbacks are just prima donnas, and they come out there with the little hand towels stuffed in their pants, and they got the little playbook on their wristband, and they don't even realize that they're about to get a mouthful of dirt when they go up against Central Atlanta High School. We'll put them on their asses.
Okay. All right. Well, we've had Coach Kip Kyle on, and it's been a real interesting segment.
Well, I have to say this. I know that this is the second week of the new format on your show, and I have to tell you, I also heard a couple of episodes of that Shadowland, and boy, that was hard to listen to. Thank God Almighty you changed the format to more of a talk show format, because that was just. I mean, I did a lot of heavy drinking listening to that old vintage radio. That was nonsense.
Well, Coach, there were a lot of people who enjoyed the the CBS mystery, with the E.G. Marshall, and a lot of the, had Boris Karloff and Vincent Price.
Well, I tell you what, it was tough to listen to, and I think it was good timing on your part, because the man was probably about to ask you to either leave the station or revamp it anyway. So you made the right move. Now that Yestergroove, well, I'm not going to say anything about that, but your taste in music, young man, leaves a lot to be desired, and I'll leave it at that.
Okay. All right. Well, that was Coach Kip Kyle, and boy, I can't bring somebody on the air without getting run through the ringer, can I? Anyway. This is Dr. William Lester, and although I'm hanging on by the skin of my teeth, this is the GameCon Radio Network.